posted January 11, 2019, 7 hours 30 minutes and 18 seconds. Bike mechanics across Adelaide are working hard as thousands of cycling enthusiasts gear up to ride, inspired by this year's edition of the Southern Hemisphere's biggest race. The Tour Down Under (TDU), launched this week in Unley's bicycle centre, increased its daily servicing jobs from about 5 a day to 15. A lot of people get their bikes serviced when the Tour Down Under is on because they do a lot of the social rides alongside it. Owner Nathan Morris said, "We'd probably book out the workshop a good week in advance during January, whereas throughout the year it's maybe 2 or 3 days in advance. It's pretty huge," a TDU spokeswoman said. Over the 10 days of last year's event, more than 2,000 recreational cyclists started their daily ride from the city of Adelaide to her village. She said the race attracted 46,000 visitors from interstate and overseas, and many of these traveled with their bikes. The TDU women's race is underway and finishes on Saturday as a precursor to the men's Union Cycliste Internationale (UCI) World Tour, which begins in Adelaide on Tuesday. Jack Valentini from Bicycle Express in the CBD said they had about 7 mechanics on full-time to do about 30 servicing jobs a day, up from about half that number outside the TDU period, and even less during winter. "I think the tour definitely inspires a few people to get out on bikes, and they do tend to come in and buy more bikes," he said, "but it's more of an increase in parts and servicing because most visitors from interstate or overseas bring their bikes with them. Parts seem to break in air freight and people come in for bits and pieces." Queensland brothers Wes and Ricky Swindale were among those who travelled from interstate for their 6th year watching the TDU. Wes told the ABC that they came to Adelaide to ride around watching the pro riders and to do a bit of cycling ourselves. Premier Stephen Marshall said last year's race generated $63.7 million for the state's small businesses, hotels, bars and retailers. 800,000 spectators were roadside and similar numbers are expected this year. BUCSA Chief Executive Christian Hogg said investment in bike shops was a significant proportion of visitor spending both in and out of Adelaide during bicycle tours, with the TDU being a big one. "They will spend X amount of dollars at a bike shop for spares and such, maybe where they live or maybe in Adelaide," he said. The Public Challenge Tour, held on Stage 5 of the TDU, inspired recreational riders to start training up to 3 months beforehand for what was probably one of their largest rides of the year. "In terms of general recreation, we know from experience anecdotally there is an increased sense of perceived safety during bicycle tours that acts as an encourager. Because we all know there are people who want to ride and, whether through perceived or real concerns about the road environment and motorist behavior, they don't." Topics: cycling, travel and tourism, exercise and fitness, community and society, human interest. Adelaide 5000, SAW.